Well, hello there, motherfuckers. I'm gonna see Captain America, the Civil War later, but I got some wrestling business I gotta take care of here first. So we had eight superstars get released. So we saw, some announcers getting released backstage and commentators getting released. No biggie, just pretty much the not as recognizable announcers. And now we've got some people have been released, and I'm going to talk about each person and how I feel this affects the WWE, just my initial reaction. So we've got King Barrett, the first one. Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett, whatever the fuck his name was, whatever they were deciding on, to call him one week to the next. I talked about this in my Ryback vid, and to be quite honest, I'm really surprised that Ryback's name's not on this list. I guess they're still debating his contract. You know, Barrett is released because he didn't choose to resign, to resign a contract. It's not really, like he was released like everybody else, where they weren't even being offered contracts. But as I already talked about this, go back and watch it if you want to hear me talk at length about how I felt about Barrett. I went on a bit of a related tangent in my Ryback video. I talked about how the Bad News Barrett gimmick could have been one of the gimmicks, one of the biggest gimmicks in a long time. I mean, it was funny, it was creative, it was edgy, while still kind of playing it safe at the same time. And it was perfect. It was perfect for Barrett. His accent, it lent to what he was saying. Very commanding voice, So it would have been a great gimmick, but people cheered it. Go figure. You cheer a good gimmick, and what happens? They get rid of the gimmick and they give him a shit ass fucking King gimmick, giving him a King Booker gimmick. What a bunch of fucking shit right there. They want to get rid of, it took them that long to come up with a great gimmick, and then they just fuck it up. Let's just keep the dancing gimmicks, and let's just, get rid of the good one. They fucked up with Barrett. This guy could have been a huge star. He was a huge star at one time in the eyes of the fans. But instead, they had nothing for him. They stuck him in the League of Nations, a shitty group. It could have been something if they applied some effort. But why apply effort? Why try? Why do anything? That's good or it would relate to quality. As Road Dogg told me on Twitter, I'm taking it too seriously. Calm down, dude. It's not that serious. It's like Road Dogg, motherfucker. Listen up. It's like these guys. They're doing this for a living. They've got careers. They got families. And the WWE is fucking with them. Don't you understand that when you were in the business, how it was? Don't you even remember how it was? I mean, this is why I can't get over this with Road Dogg. I mean, here's a guy who was involved in one of the best times in WWE, and he doesn't choose to see this, like how everyone is basically wasted potential. I don't really understand where they're coming from. Damien Sandow. I also mentioned him briefly in my last video about Ryback. The thing is about Sandow. My phone's like freezing up a little bit here. Fucking Galaxy. I want to say something about the fucking Galaxy. The phone might be good because of the features, but holy fucking shit, does this phone give me fucking problems? And the battery life is fucking shit. It's fucking terrible. I mean, if you want a phone that pisses you off, get yourself a Galaxy. King! Yeah, you know what? I just promoted. Give me a fucking $1,000 for that. Damien Sandow. This is a guy that was willing to do anything to get over. And he was getting over with the crowd big time. You know, they could have done something big with him in 2015. They had him in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Hey, you know what? Why don't we give Sandow a win? The guy is fucking throwing himself over the top rope. He's bumping with nobody. He was copying what The Miz was doing. He was performing fucking planches off the top rope, landing on the floor, you know, fucking hurting himself to entertain the fans. This is what they asked Sandow to do, and Sandow was a yes man. Sandow did everything. And WWE had confidence in him at one time. They had the man win the fucking Money in the Bank. He goes against John Cena and he loses. Now, you know, everybody had a problem with this, and you know, but the thing is, I never really saw Sandow as a champion, and you know why that is? He wasn't presented to me as a champion. And this is what I keep saying, you know, and I had some people giving me some shit about what I said about Ryback, how it sounded like I was praising him. The way Ryback was shown to me in WWE, that's why in all those Raw reviews, I tore him apart. You gotta understand, I'm tearing apart the character. I'm not tearing apart the man. It's not the guy's fault that he was booked like shit, that he was made to look like shit. The same thing with Sandow. I said things about him, but you know, it's how they're booked. These are characters on a TV show. You know, that's what it is. It's like Rob. I didn't really care for Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents. You know, the Robert De Niro movie, but I love Robert De Niro. I mean, the things that this guy has done, Casino, Goodfellas. I mean, come on, this guy. You know, he's had some amazing performances throughout his life. But you know, I didn't like his character on Meet the Parents. Does that mean I hate Robert De Niro and he's a no good motherfucker? No! Yeah, I mean, that would be totally ignorant. That is a massive generalization. You know, one person does something bad and then boom, he totally sucks. No, it's not that. You know, the thing is with Ryback is like, they should have been able to get the guy over as a powerhouse. And then he's going out there doing high flying fucking moves. And I don't know if it was he was told to do this or they found out that he was told to do this. I wouldn't even think the guy's capable of it. But the guy was performing fucking corkscrew planches. Fucking, I mean, you know, who would expect that? This guy was willing to change. He was willing, like just like Sandow, to do anything. But Ryback has not been released yet. We're talking about Sandow, but it's the same situation. You know, Sandow changing his gimmick 1,000 fucking times. You know, he was like telling the fans on Twitter, you know, that if he wanted to get, you know, he wasn't asking the fans. The fans were asking him, when's he going to be on TV? When's he going to return to prominence? And he was saying, guys, let the WWE know. Let them know that you want to see me. And you know, it's like WWE like chooses what they want to look at it on social media and choose what to follow. Oh, the fans want to see Shane McMahon run Raw, even though he lost the match, and we made the decision as a company to not have Shane go over at Mania. Listen to the fans in that case, but don't listen to the fans that they want Sandow. What a fucking load of horse shit. This guy was very entertaining in just about everything he did. He had excellent mic skills. You know, this guy went from fucking a jobber, you know, from Idol Stevens facing Paul London and Brian Kendrick with Casey James at No Mercy 2006, looking like plain ass motherfuckers. You know, like just, you know, no personality, no nothing. And then they just fucking you know, changed him totally, gave him a gimmick, and the gimmick was working. It just, you know, they had no idea what to do with him. They had no idea what situations to put him in. It was horrible. It was a complete Fucking failure, motherfuckers. Santino Marella. You know, I'm not complaining here. I'll say this. When Santino was a heel and the guy was taking cracks at Stone Cold about the Condemned and he was making up his own feud and he was even doing a version of the Stunner in the Ring and he was with Beth Phoenix, it was hilarious. But Sandow's face turn, Santino Marella's face turn was a fucking just disaster in every sense of the word. I mean, this guy, at times it almost looked like Vince McMahon was thinking about giving him the world title. I'll never forget when it came down to Daniel Bryan and Santino Marella at the Elimination Chamber. You can really tell that McMahon kind of wanted to have a goofball champion, but he wasn't that fucking out of his mind to give Santino the belt. Now, Santino had a very memorable debut against Umaga. This guy has a decent career to show for it. Half of his career was good. The other half was fucking shit, basically, where he was putting a fucking sock on his hand and jamming people in the face with it. I mean, how retarded. Probably one of the most retarded finishing moves in the history of WWE. Now, uh, probably my least favorite Santino moment would have had to be at WrestleMania 25 in 2009 when he was Santina Marella. Santino Marella trying to be his own sister. Uh, yeah, if you guys weren't watching at the time, this is kind of where for me WWE started going. I mean, what a fucking bunch of fucking horseshit here. I mean, okay, so let me explain if no one watched WrestleMania 25. They get all the divas to come back in this thing. Lita, Trish Stratus, Molly Holly. I don't remember. Jacqueline was in there, Michelle McCool. Every fucking diva under the fucking sun, even Sunny. None of these women get any entrances at all. Not a single fucking one gets any entrance. Instead, Kid Rock is singing them to the ring. I don't have a problem with Kid Rock. I actually like Kid Rock. But this was so disrespectful. They actually had Santino Marella win the fucking thing. Now, I'm all for entertainment. I'm all for laughs. But you don't get a bunch of fucking women to go into a battle royal, many of these girls being legends or really good fucking wrestlers at the very least. Talents that, put WWE over big time, that actually got some eyes on the women. Also Tori Wilson was in there. They got Tori Wilson to even show up. And they had a fucking man win it. How fucking pathetic does it get? You got all these hot chicks, all these great female wrestlers. Who's it gonna be? Lita? No. Trish? No. Molly Holly? No. All these great big names, these like pioneers of women's wrestling. And who do they pick? Santino Marella. Yeah, or Santina Marella, as he was called in the match. He was cross dressing, and this is not exactly what I would call entertainment. I would call it downright fucking foolishness. This is where WWE started to get away from, some entertaining comedy in favor of just fucking PG fucking bullshit. This was a true example. With Santino Marella, he was pretty much the personification of PG. Many people like to say it was Cena. At times, maybe. But Santino Marella totally took the fucking cake. And that was a horrible moment in WWE and WrestleMania history. Um, Cameron. Now, you might be saying, who the fuck is Cameron? Well, I'll remind you. She was one of the Funkosauruses, whatever the hell, the Funkadactyls. There you go. Now, one of them actually has some talent. Naomi. Naomi was obviously the hotter one. She's got that big fucking ass that you just want to shove your fucking face into and go. You know, you want to do that. You can't help yourself sometimes. It's a very fappable ass. But Cameron was there as well, and not as hot. Nobody really took to her. They put her in NXT. Still, nobody took to her. This is, a good release here. And, a lot of bad memories from Cameron with the Funkadactyls and Brodus Clay. A lot of reminders of past WWE failures. Hornswoggle. The thing is about Hornswoggle, I liked when they introduced him as little bastard with Finley. The Vince McMahon storyline with the illegitimate son, um, that would have been a lot better if they went with the original plan of making it Mr. Kennedy. But, Hornswoggle, it was funny when they announced that. And Hornswoggle had some funny moments, but when they had him join DX and all that fucking bullshit, then it went completely off the rails. Especially when Hornswoggle eliminated Sheamus from a battle royal. I was just about to fucking lose it already with this midget bastard. I you know I I'm impressed. He's probably the most popular midget they ever had, maybe since Dink, possibly Max Mini. This is a very weird thing with Hornswoggle. He comes from a time when WWE was introducing the juniors division, when you had a whole bunch of midget wrestlers running around, and thank God they got rid of that shit like pronto. Um, but Hornswoggle stayed around, and this guy wasn't even a part of juniors division, but for some reason they started getting a hard on for midgets. I don't know. McMahon still thinks midgets is funny, and we've had some good midgets, throughout WWE history. There was a Booker T impersonator. There were the Dudleys and Hardy midgets, that Edge and Christian brought out. So, none against midgets, motherfuckers. They're A-okay. But, Hornswoggle stayed around for a little bit too long for my liking. Who could ever forget Kali versus Hornswoggle at Survivor Series? I'm not going to knock it. It was pretty entertaining, for them to do something like that. But Alex Riley. Now, here's the thing about WWE claiming to listen to their audience, and who they want. They'll listen to people about Sami Zayn on the fucking internet and social media. They bring Sami Zayn to the main roster, and no one gives two fucks about Sami Zayn. You hear the reactions. People will lie and say they're good reactions. I saw Sami Zayn jump up on the barricade and do a moonsault off of it on Raw, on national TV. A fantastic move, and not a single person fucking cheered. Maybe two people in the cheap seats. But Alex Riley was a guy that was getting massive pops. I don't remember that. How quickly we forget. Alex Riley turned on The Miz after being his valet, his manager, whatever you want to call it. Alex Riley was sick of being The Miz's bitch. He turned on The Miz, and during that feud, the guy was hot. He was fucking hot as hell. And he should have went over Miz in the end, but he didn't. They ended the feud, and then they just fucking pushed him off TV. Because that's how WWE does it. Oh, it's too hard to push these guys. I mean, losing opportunities to make money, to build characters. Now, Alex Riley didn't even have a character. That was the thing, but people were popping for him. Why? Because they had a genuine storyline going. This was the guy's manager. He was there to ensure that the Miz won, and then he turned on him. I mean, it was like Virgil and the $1 Million Man, for fuck's sake. I mean, it was like something like that. A lot of heat on Miz for doing, for treating Alex Riley like he did. They had a lot of potential here for a big storyline, and it was getting there, but then they just fucking blew it. They fucking blew it, motherfuckers. Just like they do with every fucking storyline and feud. Nothing pays off. Nobody goes over. Nothing fucking ever happens. And now they released him. They were starting to do something with him in NXT. He was a good commentator, I thought, but let's not do anything with Riley. We got a talented guy here. What do we do with him? Nothing. El Torito. There ain't no need for this guy anymore because now Primo and Epico ain't Matadors anymore. Instead, they're gonna be fucking, running a tourism business in Puerto Rico. What a fucking load of shit. But I want to see where this goes. I'm all for characters and everything, but like, are they gonna like bring a fucking motorized desk to the ring? Yeah, like, what the fuck? I mean, seriously, like, I don't get it. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna wrestle matches, or are they gonna fucking, book trips to Puerto Rico? I don't fucking know. I don't even want to find out. El Torito. I remember enjoying an El Torito Hornswoggle match. Um, I think prior to Extreme Rules, it was like 3MB. Um, and the Matadors were with El Torito, and I remember it being a surprisingly good match. Uh, Zeb Coulter. Now, this is undoubtedly one of the best, maybe most underrated managers of all time. A lot of people don't realize, but Zeb Coulter was actually, Uncle Zebekiah for the Godwins. This guy managed a lot of people prior to being called Zeb Coulter. Um, Now, this guy was great. They put him with Swagger, and it was genius. They were doing great things together. But instead, they just fucked him up. They had Del Rio kicking Zeb Coulter to the curb. They just fucked up. WWE doesn't have any managers. They don't do the manager thing anymore, and they should. It would definitely help a lot of guys out. Just like they're doing with Maurice and The Miz. Add to these wrestlers' presentation. I mean, if you ain't going to give them characters, at least add to their presentation. Like how Seth Rollins came out with Noble and Mercury. It helped up his presentation. Something to add to him being there. Something to add to the matches. Oh, are they going to interfere? Aren't they? That's what I'm saying. They need something. And Zeb Coulter, what a waste. What a motherfucking waste to get rid of this guy. Because he was a genius manager and he knew how to do things. He knew a lot about the business. I believe that he might have been a booker somewhere. I'm not really completely sure about that, but the guy was pretty knowledgeable from what I know. Anyway, I think out of this list, I think the biggest wastes here were, well, Sandow had a lot of history in the WWE for a couple of years. People remember Sandow. They remember his maybe confrontation with DX at Raw 1000, his match with Cena where it looked like he was going to win the title. They also fucked up royally with Barrett. No pun intended there. They did fuck up royally though by giving him the King gimmick, not sticking with the bad news gimmick. I mean, the thing was nobody was cheering for Barrett. There was a whole bunch of fails in Barrett's life. And then all of a sudden, they hit on something genius with bad news Barrett. And guess what they do with it? They take it away from him. It's just like a child enjoying a new toy, and then someone just rips it out of their hands. I mean, what a bunch of fucking monsters. I mean, I look at this, even like guys like Alex Riley. Some people will probably forget because it was so short, but I remember that Alex Riley could have been a U.S. champion, and probably putting the belt on him, he was hot at the time, would have been a smart move. But instead, no, let's just do a whole bunch of other shit that no one's going to like and's going to lose ratings. I'm not saying that Alex Riley would have, translated to big time ratings, but it at least would have, been the right thing to do. People are cheering for a wrestler. They like a guy. They're legitimately invested in him, which is the problem we have today. Nobody's invested in any of these fucking wrestlers. Nobody gives a shit about who wins, who loses, who says what anymore. It's just a fucking mess. It's just a bunch of matches and promos that nobody cares about. And now you got a whole bunch of guys that were just released that probably could have translated to some money for WWE. Could have translated to some fans sticking around, but we see the talent mistreated. We see the talent portrayed in the poor light. We're not going to keep sticking around. And I'm sorry, Road Dogg, but that's just the fact of the matter right here. I mean, there's no denying it. WWE, to say that they have major problems wouldn't even be doing it justice. WWE is a colossal fucking failure. They have no idea what they're doing. McMahon is fucking senile. He doesn't have a fucking clue. He's saying that he doesn't care about the ratings, even though the ratings are everything. And people on Twitter are like, ratings don't matter. Are you fucking retarded? That is why the fucking Raw is not on the network, because they want the ratings. They want the ratings. They know damn well they don't have enough subscribers. 1.8 is not enough. That maybe it might attract more subscribers, but not a lot. There's not even that many people watching Raw. If there's 1.8 subscribers and only 2.2 million viewers, that's not a really smart mathematical decision. They want the sponsors. They ain't going to get that on the network. In order to get lots of sponsors, you need to have big time ratings. And WWE ain't going to do that. It's all these things. Fans don't want it. They keep doing PG. No good storylines, no good feuds, no nothing. All we get is a series of uneventful matches. There's nothing thought provoking. There's no cliffhangers. There's no edge of your seat moments. Every show is just bland, boring. They throw in a little something. You need a fucking microscope to even see that it's good, because, it's like, oh, that's it. That's all you get. That's all you get. And you get one big, barely even earth shattering moment once a year. We had Shane jumping off the cell at Mania, and that's probably the best moment we're going to get all year. They're not going to even be able to top that one. If this was way back when, then maybe. I mean, don't you guys see on this show, nothing fucking happens. Even when something happens, nothing even really happens for a long term. We don't see any big, this is a new era, and we still have Stephanie there, and we don't even have Shane on camera, half the night. I mean, come on. It's the same fucking bullshit. We're not getting anything different. Still nobody with characters, no great feuds, no storylines. We're still getting the same thing, and we're still getting the lousy fucking ratings. So how am I supposed to believe this is a new era? And now you've got a bunch of talents released. Half of them would have actually contributed a lot of quality to the product if they were used correctly. But unfortunately, no. There you go, motherfuckers. There's my opinion on the situation. Have a nice fucking day.